Rather date a liberal or an illegal immigrant?
An illegal immigrant.
Why?
Because at least I know that they're women.
Damn, that's a good answer.
And I actually think I'm about to have a panic attack from sitting in a room with you, so I'd like to leave now.
What?
Yeah.
So you're feeling...
Yeah,
you were asked to come on the show to have a conversation.
And I've had a conversation.
We had a very nice...
We've had a conversation.
Well, you read out a statement, and now I'd like to ask you some questions.
You read out your statement.
I
did at the beginning.
Out a statement. No, that's me introducing the topic for people who are just tuning in and
you added your ad-libs. You got to say what you thought about it. I've said my piece, and now I'd really like to go. My piece, and now I'd really like to go.
I thought we were you were actually plugged into a mic there. I thought we were going to have a conversation.
I'd like to go.
You'd like to go? Okay, I wouldn't want anyone to feel unsafe being asked questions, but...
I would rather share a bathroom with 100 trans women than one legal biological woman who wants to know what's inside my pants. And Julia, friends call me Shiv, so Shivani, Shiv, whatever pronouns scare you the most, they're fine for me.
If I hold up this navy blue mug and say that's orange, and use one of those, we have to be using words that have the same meaning. It's navy blue. So when I say it's navy blue, then you have to understand that as the same thing as I understand that. Otherwise, it's a meaningless conversation.
I'm not a trans activist. I'm just a person.
But I'm talking about many trans activists. I wasn't including that. When you say women, are you including me just out of interest in the vile and hateful dog whistle broadcasters?
It's a self-ID situation. If you feel you sit into that...
No, well, I don't, obviously, because I've not been hateful about anyone who's trans or... Do you? I'm asking you.
It's not for me to put you in a category.
It's not for you. Okay. Right, here we go. The Supreme Court was very, very clear.
Yeah.
They're saying not only is the law now, they're saying it has always been the case, that because you have a piece of paper, even a piece of paper, a gender recognition certificate, saying that you are legally a woman if you're born a man, you are not, in fact, a woman. Do you not accept that, or do you accept that ruling?
I mean, whatever.
No, that's not an answer to a question.
Let me finish.
You're not a 12-year-old.
Let me finish my sentence. That is, to me, whatever, because for me and my community, trans women are women. They have always... The law can define a woman however it wants. You can call whoever you want, whatever pronouns you want, but what are, in my opinion, beyond description or categorization. Women are funny, knowledgeable, powerful, strong. And in my experience with trans women, they're kind.
Because you are a woman, you identify as, I believe, non-binary. You prefer the pronouns they, them. And
whichever one's the scariest.
You took me to task for using what I believe were your correct pronouns. Does that landmark ruling by the Supreme Court change anything for you?
Well, so it's a few sentences, if you let me say what I want to say. In years to come, I believe this decision by the Supreme Court will be considered shameful. Trans people are not your enemy, and women are marginalised within our society already here in the UK. Defining women by their sort of biological functions or their appearance has never helped any woman ever. Isn't that what the suffragettes were sort of fighting against in the first place? The ruling and this discussion entirety kind of is resulting in a distraction from the sort of disturbing reality that we're living through, which is, the facts are, the UK has an emboldened far-right population, our government is fueling a genocide, violence against women and girls has shot through the roof, and spoiler alert, it's not because of trans women. The LGBT community is most likely to experience abuse, addiction, homelessness than the straight community, and within that, those who suffer the most are women. They are trans women. These are women who make me personally feel safe. They're the ones that I want to dance with at 2 a.m. in the morning and watch football with on a Sunday afternoon.
Why in the blue hell did the Rainbow ABCD Coalition think people are scared of you using pronouns? If you want to believe in your fairy tale la 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 nonsense, you can go ahead and do that. All we are saying is don't force me to conform to your nonsense. It's really not that hard of a concept to understand, but I know with the stupidity epidemic that's going on right now, these people can't understand that. I believe it's something in the water that they're drinking or the food that they're eating, or maybe it's in the color dye that they use on their hair, or all of the metals and deceptive nose ring piercings that they all have.
I'm drunk and a woman's drunk. Are we graping each other?
Yes. I mean, do you think children engaging would be graping each other?
Well, that wouldn't be grape. That would be something different, because it is true that they can't consent, right? But they both kind of can't consent together. So I don't think they understand the ramifications of what they're doing. I think if you're drunk, you do. I don't think that being drunk
but
gives you a pass.
I just put your logic into a different scenario. So,
no,
so
it's not the same logic.
How is it not?
Because in one you don't understand, the other one you do. Like one you don't have the capacity for.
I mean, again, it depends how drunk you are. You might not have the capacity.
Okay, then if I get drunk for somebody. Not my fault.
I mean, people have gotten off for people in their sleep.
Yeah, so I didn't consent to her, right? So therefore, no big deal.
I mean, you didn't consent. I don't know what that has to do with anything in
Well,
terms
I'm just
of
saying,
the rights violation.
If you grape when you're drunk, are you responsible for that?
Yes.
Now I'm actually really confused. So you can be held responsible for the actions that you take when you're drunk.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, like even if you're blacked out and you get in your car and you drive and you kill someone, yeah.
Okay, so then why can't two people consent when they're drunk?
There is no way in blue hell that this decrepit, overweight feminist just said that two people who engage in sex when they are drunk are both being graped. You cannot make the stupidity and the victimhood that we are seeing in today's world. These people are stupid and we should not take them seriously. Before we get back into the video, make sure you guys like the video if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell that you'll see beside the subscribe button so that you're notified when one of my videos come out. Follow me on Instagram, X as they call it, TikTok at YinkaThatGuy, and let's get back into the video.
My question, what is a woman?
A woman is anyone who identifies as a woman.
Okay, so am I a woman?
You don't identify as a woman.
I can.
It is a right of each individual to choose who they feel they are inside without judgment or limitations from any legal court.
Okay.
You're skeptical.
So I'm a giraffe.
The validity of transgender people.
Touch me. Don't touch me.
Of the validity of transgender people.
Don't touch me.
I don't know if people are realizing this by now, but yeah, this video is evidence as to why we shouldn't allow everyone to vote.
I zoned out and I thought I'd woken up in the 1950s. You can't take him seriously. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean in the 1950s when we had intact families where 95% of women were getting married as virgins, where families weren't being broken up, where crime was extremely low, where you only needed one income to support an entire household, where mental illness was at an all-time low? You had
Are you married? Are you married?
Yeah, married with many children.
Is your
How
wife
about you?
happy?
Oh, she's ecstatic.
No, I'm 23. I'm a boss lady girl, which seems to be driving you crazy.
Yeah.
Working, making money,
I'm just pointing
waiting
out
for the right guy to
the
come
only
along.
thing you have no arguments. You just try to assault me personally. You can try, but the truth is that I've reproduced. I am married.
How did I assault
do
you?
have
I
a
asked you
life.
if you're married.
No, you didn't. You were making a passive-aggressive feminist.
Wait, how did I assault you?
About how my wife must be miserable.
Andrew,
your wife must be miserable.
To be fair, Andrew is practicing what he preaches.
Apart from the stupidity that was said by elderly Michelin man, there is no way in blue hell that that woman could be 23 years old.
Baby girl, if his credit score starts with a 5 and ends with a, I'm working on it, run. Run.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you hear that?
That is really condescending.
I am a person with an intersex condition. What is my gender according to you if gender is what is born in, what body you're born in?
Well, my expression is that there are two sexes, there are zero genders, and there are infinite personalities.
Yeah, and I have about...
That captures the entire population.
And I have about 200 of them. God bless.
You want to engage in this whataboutism. Every single child ever born with one of these disorders of sexual development is still male or female.
That's actually not incorrect.
Oh, really?
Yes, according to a professor
According
here.
to a professor here.
Yes. What's your opinion on the professionally developed gender dysphoria diagnosis in the DSM-5?
Yeah. So what does it say? It says that gender dysphoria starts with young children.
It actually.
And what's going on today with all these adolescents?
It
this
very
condition...
much does not. Have you read the DSM-5?
So if you ask me a question, would you like me to give the response or would you just like to
I
cut
would
me
like
off?
you to respond with correct information.
Sure. So gender dysphoria is real. Traditionally, this affected 1 out of tens of thousands of children, not 1 out of tens like we see today. And it starts young.
It always gets very interesting to me when these people who claim that sex is not gender and gender is not sex and they're two completely different things use sex to try and justify gender, which doesn't make any sense. But of course, nothing should make sense coming from people who believe you chop off your genitals and now you're apparently the gender that you associate with.
Do you feel safe as a black man in the UK?
Short answer, no. I think this is just my belief. I don't think as a black man I'm ever going to be entirely safe in the United Kingdom, just because this country isn't designed to put my safety as a priority. That's just, if I'm not white and I want to live here, I just have to be very aware of that. So for me, I don't expect the environment to make me feel safe because the environment wasn't designed with me in mind. So I kind of carry my own sense of safety as my own responsibility. So yeah, I will roam the streets. I will go out late at night. I don't feel fear, but I don't feel safe.
Here comes the victim again, who has not really experienced anything bad in his life, but he has been told to be a victim, and now he walks around his life being a victim. You're not a victim, you just love being a victim because people praise you for being a victim.
Can you concede to the fact that biological men in women's sport do have an advantage?
No, because they don't have any estrogen.
They don't.
Trans women do not have any testosterone in their body.
None whatsoever?
No, because they take blockers.
That doesn't mean that they get rid of all the testosterone in their body.
Yes, it does. It blocks out 100%. And then they have to take estrogen to compensate.
Okay, so even through the...
And if, I'm sorry, but I genuinely thought that maybe you were on our side, and the way you're talking to me is if you are on J.K. Rowling's side, so I really do not want to give you any more time.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that's totally your choice. That's absolutely fine.
And this is why I've wiped my hands clean of men going into women's toilets, because it's majority of women who believe in this nonsense. They're the ones who perpetuate this nonsense, and then when they see the consequences of them perpetuating this nonsense, they begin to complain and say that they don't want them in their spaces anymore. This is what feminism has promoted. It's promoted equality, but for some reason when we actually tell them that men and women are not the same, they want to cry about it. This is the result of equality. Was that guy holding toilet roll and was his pants down? I don't know if anyone saw that, but if you rewind the video, you might have seen what I saw.
Is that we are a threat to their masculinity. They don't like us because we've rejected the masculine side and going towards our female side. Now, you can imagine, if I walked into a bathroom looking like this, a men's toilets looking like this, I am just asking for trouble. You know, it only takes one obnoxious idiot to dislike what I'm doing or what I'm...
What if a woman did that, though?
A woman wouldn't do it. End of. So why should I? So I've just used the female toilets down at Waterloo Station. None of the women batted an eyelid when I walked in there. I've got no problem with going in the ladies' toilets. They've got no problem with me going in there. So I am not going to stop going in there. Unless one person, one woman in that toilet turns around to me and says, could you use another toilet? In which case I'll come out and I'll wait till she's done and I'll go back in there and say, anyone else object to me using the lid?
These people cannot be serious. I can't even take anything they say seriously, especially when you look like that.
Do you have pronouns in your email signature?
I do.
How long have you had that?
Since the day I started my job, and I even go further to put a parentheses after it, and it says, what is this? So if the people don't know why the pronouns are there, they can click on a link and it gives them the definitions of pronouns and why they exist.
You, sir, are an idiot.
I really hope this is a joke, because no one who's an actual feminist would ever say such a thing. Because that's rather implying that women deserve special treatment and privileges just for being women. But feminism is about equality, right? So no one would ever say that who actually knows what feminism is about. They should just stand there, happily and proudly, to be treated as an equal to a man. Seats are supposed to be given up for people that actually need them out of courtesy, like individuals who are obviously disabled, pregnant women, or the elderly. You don't get a special seat, or even a seat to be given up for you just because you're a woman.
If trans women aren't women, then is this big croissant not a croissant? Of course it's a croissant. It's made out of butter and dough just like any other croissant. Oh, but there are biological differences. This croissant was born different. I'm not saying that there isn't a cosmetic difference between this croissant and this croissant, but they are both inarguably still croissants. Oh, but they're invading our bakeries and trying to brainwash our kids. But how? By teaching your kids there's more than one way to be a croissant? If anything, the existence of big and small croissants shows our kids how wonderful and diverse the world of pastries can be. Next thing you know, you're going to start demanding that big croissants use separate cafes and identify as scones. So before I demolish this delicious and very valid pastry, repeat after me. Big croissants don't affect me in the slightest. If anything, it's pretty cool that they exist. Maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to find a big croissant and order it and dunk it in hot chocolate. Okay, my metaphor is falling apart, but you get it. All right, here we go. Oh my God. It's as big as my head. It's so flaky. I'm covered in flakes. I don't care that I have hot chocolate over my face. That's incredible.
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay, are we just going to disregard the fact that Nike is apparently funding a study that disfigures young boys to understand if they can be physically impaired enough to compete with girls without significant retained male advantage? And if you're confused what this means, it means Nike is funding a study to give children injectable hormones and puberty blockers. Yes, you heard that right. Nike, the shoe brand, the athletic wear brand, is doing medical experimentation on minors. I haven't bought a Nike product in years. I've known about their use of exploited workers, child labor in third world countries, how they went all in on Colin Kaepernick, how they used a man to model women's products, Dylan Mulvaney, in a woman's sports bra, right? So Nike was already not an option for me, but this experiment is like Nike's own Tuskegee experiment. I guess you can't know the effects of intentionally harming children without intentionally harming children. And from a shoe brand. Like, did Bud Light teach them nothing? So this is from a piece the New York Times did just this past week. You can pause to read it all. Basically, it's saying this scientist who identifies as trans himself, Joanna Harper, is leading a study, an ambitious study, of trans adolescents that measures before they begin hormone therapy and after they have begun to medically transition every 6 months for 5 years. You see it and highlighted right here. This study is being funded by Nike. And Nike has yet to answer to this. They have spent days now avoiding all reporters and journalists asking them if this is true and why they're engaging in this. It'd be a shame if we tagged them in the comments and let them know that we're watching and that we want answers. So if this wasn't enough to put you off from buying Nike ever again, maybe the fact that they're investing money into seeing if you can medically abuse boys enough to make it fair for them to compete against girls is.
They're not brainwashing anybody.